Welcome to the Write Your Own Story podcast. I'm your host, Betsy Leonidas, and the founder of the Write Your Own Story company. Girl, I can tell you right now, you are definitely enough. Here we value service, sisterhood, connection, laughter, and that super genuine, keep it real, tell you like it is honesty. My hope is at the end of each episode, you realize you can do whatever it is you dream about and that you are not alone with what you struggle with. I'm hoping that you are snapping and clapping and hell yes in your way through each one of these episodes. So if this tracks with you, let's get started. I'm so glad you're here. All right, everyone. Welcome back to the Write Your Own Story podcast. I'm your host, Betsy Leonidas, and I am so thrilled to be here today with a dear friend, Megan Stacey.
Hi, Betsy.
Hi. Thank you so much for being here.
No, thank you for having me.
This is going to be an absolute blast.
I've been looking forward to it all week.
Oh, me too. Also, I had to last minute for the first time ever cancel, and you were because I wasn't feeling well, and I've never done that before. And for two high achieving people, that was literally the death of me to have to, because I know how precious your time is, and you were so kind and so gracious. So thank you for letting me.
We have to give each other grace.
Yes, learning. I give everyone the grace, learning to give myself grace. Yep. So thank you for reinforcing that.
Absolutely.
You were so sweet and so kind, and I'm feeling so much better. And just here we are drinking rosé on the couch. It's going to be so great. Okay, so this episode is titled Being Bold and Brave. And I am so excited because I think everyone who knows you and loves you knows you for being bold and brave. But I like to start off every episode with an intention so that we can just kind of ground ourselves in what we're here to accomplish, as well as a listener to be able to understand sort of what we're trying to accomplish. And it's all around encouraging women to embrace the power of the pivot and to own your own strengths, which your story is absolutely one of those.
I love that.
Yeah. So before we get into the chit chat, I just like to talk about how we know each other, and then I'll just have you give a quick rundown.
I can't wait. I really don't know how we know each other because I feel like I've known you through different avenues and I can't really pinpoint it. Maybe you can.
My best guess is that we met at Junior League.
Okay.
Doesn't that seem
I kind of forgot that you were in Junior League.
Oh, because it was for 3 seconds.
Okay. I actually don't know. I have 3 friends in my life where I'm the origin of how we know each other is Cincinnati. So who knows? Who knows? 100 different connections.
That is
the Kevin Bacon game.
It is. Cincinnati is the Kevin Bacon game. I mean, there's a million ways that we overlap.
Okay, good. Junior League. Let's use that. Let's run with that.
But then also in a very Cincinnati way, our dads knew each other.
Yeah, but did you go to Miami?
Yes.
Okay, I thought so.
Oh my God. Yes. But I'm older than you, right?
2004.
Yeah.
2005.
Okay.
So I feel I didn't know you then, but I feel like that could be possible.
Definitely could be possible. And you grew up.
And then generationally, which we did not know until you did polo for babies. Yep. We did put that together.
Yeah. Yeah. I know, right? That our dads play polo against each other.
Really cool. That's really special.
Such a small world.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Town.
So we know each other through life in Cincinnati because that's just how that goes.
Because you can't get away from it.
You sure can't. You sure cannot. My kids always joke. They're like, everywhere we go, Mom knows somebody. I'm like, that's just because I grew up here.
When I was a teenager, my mom said, I have eyes everywhere. And she really did. I got away with nothing.
Of course.
Because she did have eyes everywhere.
I cannot wait to say that to my 13-year-old. Oh my God. I just got so excited.
That's Mama Sue. That's a Mama Sue quote. Go for it.
Your mom is so special.
She is.
And I hope we quote her multiple times.
We are going to probably.
Yes. I recently turned my basement into a home gym, literally all from Amazon, and I could not be more obsessed. I got an elliptical that I actually love, a reformer that I'm obsessed with and is saving my life, and all my decor that makes it not just a home gym, but feel bougie. I mean, we're talking wallpaper accent walls and a chandelier without breaking the bank. Now I have space where me and my 4 kids can all work out together. I love Amazon because I furnish or style my home in a way that feels like such a reflection of me without having to break the bank. If you're like me and get a little bit sad, okay, maybe more than a little bit sad, when there's no package at the door, then you are my people. Also, I think we need help. But until then, visit amazon.com/shop/write your own story. Or even better, click the link in the show notes and shop all my favorite finds in fashion, beauty, home decor, organization, and more. From my cart to yours, these are the treasures you don't want to miss. Okay, so before we dive in, would you mind giving just a quick rundown bio? It can be as professional, casual. I just want the readers or listeners to know Who's Megan?
Who am I? Woo, that's such a heavy question.
I know, right?
Okay, Megan Stacey.
Yep.
Let's start with my name.
One.
Have never really left Cincinnati.
Yeah.
So my Instagram is Home Sweet Cincinnati, and my life is Home Sweet Cincinnati. So I grew up in Anderson. Mm-hmm. I went to Ursula and McNicholas. That's a good story for another time.
Yeah.
I really never moved across the levee until after college. I went to Miami of Ohio for my undergrad. I studied education.
Yeah.
And then I worked on my master's degree at Xavier University in educational administration, where I got my principal license.
Yeah.
And I was one class away from my superintendent license when I had Emory.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know that.
And And let's see, I currently live in Hyde Park.
Yep.
I have 3 kiddos.
Yeah, you do.
And they are darling, Emory, Ford, and Gunner. Gunner was my post-COVID plot twist.
Yeah.
He's wonderful.
Yeah,
I have 2 geriatric dogs. And then, which I know we're going to talk about, I have been in real estate since May of 2015. And it has been wild ride. Yeah. So it's been 9 years.
Wow.
And it has been just the experience of a lifetime.
I love to see you show up, because when you do something, you are so all in. I mean, in every aspect of your life, which I so admire about you. And it has been awesome to watch you build, because I knew you as the educator and then as the administrator, and you were so passionate about that. And then it was kind of like a plot twist with the career, but I'm all here for it. And you have just absolutely crushed it, and are really you have carved your own path and done it your own way. So that is one of the many reasons why I wanted to have you on the show, because I feel like you truly embrace the power of the pivot. And that seems to be one of the themes that keeps popping up when I interview all these amazing women, is there's been some sort of pivot in their life, whether it happened to them or they made it happen. But there's something about the pivot that is like fundamental to this like ongoing research project I'm doing of what it means to write your own story.
I love it.
Yeah. So like, when I was like, power of the pivot, Megan.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. So to start us off, what made you switch from administration and education to real estate?
One word answer.
Love it.
Motherhood.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Were you looking for more flexibility?
Yes. And that is not what happened next.
Right. I know.
Yeah. So I really think, motherhood, I had climbed the career ladder in my former career of education very quickly. I mean, I was the youngest person at central office by probably 20 years.
Yeah.
They'll be mad if they say 20 years. There are a few people that were 10 years older than me, but I was very young in my career.
Yes.
And frankly, although I hug every teacher, I'm like right at the camera on this one, hug the teachers, buy the teachers Starbucks, give them a surprise gift card. It is a very hard job, and they love on our kiddos truly like they're their own. Yeah. And it is a vocation. Yeah. And it is a calling. And it wasn't for me. I mean, I got into education truly to make a difference. And I thought, because I'm kind of a natural born leader, I'm having a hard time saying that about myself. It's true.
It's very true.
I really thought, well, the best way to pursue this career is to climb. Yeah. And once I climbed, I realized I actually couldn't have the impact that I wanted to have because of the system. Yes. And it was more of a political job than I thought. Yes. And at the end of the day, I was selling a message that I didn't believe, because if I could just run the world, I would tell parents if their child needs support, or, it wouldn't be just about test scores. Yes. And so what was really challenging is my head did not hit the pillow really well every night, because I would watch parents or teachers who were struggling, or parents who needed something. And because the system was so large, I couldn't really act on what I wanted for them because of the system. Yeah. And so it's a good reminder, both in the educational field and the medical field, you have to be your own advocate. Yes. Because I saw so often that the people and parents who were advocating so hard for their child, they ended up with more support than those who didn't have the resources or know to advocate. So
was it just the nature of being the squeaky wheel? When I think about encouraging people to be an advocate, like, is that, because
and I don't think advocate always means that you have to be a squeaky wheel. Okay. I think it's just, you have to educate yourself, and you have to know what options exist, and you have to pursue those options until you do what's right, in this case, for your child or for yourself. Yeah. And so motherhood, to get back to the question, motherhood was the reason. If I was going to get up every day, because I always thought I was an assistant principal, and then I went into central office to roll out the curriculum. I always thought that I wanted to be a building principal. Yeah. And at the end of the day, I wasn't sure how I would ever find that balance of being there for my own kids.
Yeah.
While basically, I mean, a principal essentially sleeps at the school, right?
Yeah.
Like
I don't know. They seem magical.
And you can't, like, if you want to get a Diet Coke at McDonald's, my favorite 3 p.m. activity until today, rosé.
Oh my God. Yes.
But, you can't do that. I mean, you are chained to the building in the best and most challenging way possible.
Yeah.
So hug your teachers, hug your administrators. It truly is a passion for them.
Yeah.
And after I became a mother, I just could not figure out how I would have that quote balance that we're all seeking, right? We're all seeking that. Speaking of rosé.
Yeah. Get your rosé, girl. Well, and that makes total sense. Not only was it like you had an idea of what you wanted your balance to look like and how you wanted to show up as a mother, and you hadn't really put that into practice yet because she was a brand new baby, but also you were in an environment as supportive as it was, where you felt like you couldn't show up for your job in a way that it felt authentic to you.
Yes.
Which, like, that is also one of the key, like, findings that I'm in this Write Your Own Story path, is like, when you are in the confines or the construct where you can't show up wholly as you and how you want to show up in a job, in a marriage, in a friendship, it will eventually wear away at your nervous system. Like, so working within some structures that are so finite, like, truly strips people away from their authentic self and being able to just show up messy and free. And, like you said, like, I'm a natural born leader. This was a calling to make a difference. And I was, chained by test scores, and that's oversimplified. So forgive me, but I think that those are another couple of key themes that I keep seeing pop up. So I'm so glad that you explained that, because one, I have no idea what it's like to be a principal. I'm going to go hug her too. But also that, like, I don't know. I think that plays a lot into the corporate world. I'm sure it plays into the medical field too. We are all put in, like, so many things are of larger systems, and it's just about being able to still carve your own path within those. And if you can't, you get to write your own story.
I love it.
Oh, I just plugged the title again. Whoops. Okay.
Strategic.
Yeah. I didn't even mean to. Cha. Okay. So flipping over to real estate. So now you have a fresh baby and you're like, guess what? I want to do real estate. How?
Well, I had a hot minute break in between that.
Oh, good.
So the way education, not a break. Hello, have you met me? Do you think I took a break?
Did you see my jaw on the floor?
Like, she took a break? No.
I was like, wait.
No, actually, another woman that you interviewed, Hillary, my dear friend Hillary, helped me get, so in life, sometimes you have to jump. And jumping is the scariest part because you don't know what's in the water. Right. And I knew I had to leave my career. And the way education works is you're on a contract where really the only way you can leave in the right way is July, because it's rude to have this job and leave in March. It's not corporate America. If you leave in March, they cannot fill your spot. Yeah. So I obviously, because I loved where I worked, I love the people. Like, I still have so many deep and wonderful relationships there. It just wasn't the right career ultimately for me to grow and thrive. Yeah. And write my own story.
Cha-ching.
Oh, we should do like an Andy Cohen.
Oh my God, we should drink every time we say it. Cheers.
I love it. Okay, I love it. Andy Cohen.
This is just going to get good.
So I needed a story. I needed a narrative. I'm an achiever personality, as we've discussed, a recovering control freak. So
no, high achieving.
I know. So anyway, trying to plug into that high functioning part, not the like obsessive part.
Perfect. I love
that. And so I
distinction.
didn't feel like I could just leave my career with nowhere to go. Yeah. So dear Hillary worked at the time for Hubbard Interactive in marketing, and she was a rock star in that career path.
Absolutely.
And everything she does as well.
Yep.
And so I actually jumped in for a year, just ran into a former colleague last night, whose sister-in-law moved into my neighborhood. We were like chatting all things. I sold air. Yeah. Let me tell you, if you can sell air, you can sell anything, people. Because it's a hard thing to sell.
Well, and like what's the word? Not fortuitous, but like, serendipitous. That's the word. Jump into sales before you jump into real estate.
Yeah.
Because,
so
holy God.
I jumped into that for a year.
And selling air. Perfect.
And I sold, it was like social media management and air.
Yeah. So Airtime, for those who aren't familiar with the company, it's a media agency.
And they're wonderful. Yep. And it is a great company. And that's almost been 10 years ago since I worked there. And I developed some amazing relationships there, just like I did in my previous career as well. And what I realized ultimately is I had to make the jump, and I had to have a narrative of why I was leaving my career. Yeah. And the hard thing for me, being an achiever, I didn't jump the right place the first time. Yeah. And I think when we're talking about pivots, however, I jumped. Yeah. And it was the springboard to the next move. Yeah. And so some of people would say, shoot, I'm here. And I was successful for a rookie.
Yeah.
I actually won some like hilarious award that was like, what? Anyway, not from the company, from like this other lady that I like sold how great I was at selling air to. Anyway, but anyway, I did. So then I had a hard time like, oh no, I don't think I landed in the right spot. Now what do I do? Because I just left this whole like 10-year career behind. However, then I realized this is a springboard for my next step.
Yeah.
And so anyway, I took a little hot minute in between education and real estate.
I interviewed another woman who made this seems to plug in here well, was that so many of us obsess about what the right decision is, you know, because to your point, you don't know what's in the water, right? You're like, I'm going to jump. Okay. I'm in on jumping, but like, where do I jump? Where is it safe? Where am I going to thrive? She was like, you make the decision and then you make the best of that decision.
Yep.
And so
you do the next right thing.
You do the next right thing.
The right thing was for me to leave that career.
Yes.
The next right thing was for me to take a job.
Yeah.
And I had no business experience. And it's really hard for educators. A lot of educators ask me like forever, for like 5 years after I left education, people would ask me to coffee.
Yeah.
Like, I want to learn more, because they're afraid of leaving. It's a very steady job with good benefits. You know, it's a hard job to leave.
Yeah.
And so for me, the next right thing was to leave. And it ended up obviously working out.
So what made you get into real estate then? Were you passionate? Did you just like love the home buying process? Like, was there anything that was like, this is it?
So I say this on every interview, on Instagram, on any other podcast. I have no interest in houses. I was walking through your house. I'm like, this is beautiful. And I don't care. No.
I love it.
So I
appreciate that.
So people like,
look at my mess.
Oh, no. I'm like, I like your light fixture. Yeah. So it's funny. Like, people will like awkwardly, like, I'll be at a party. People are like, come tour my house. And I'm like, it's like telling your dentist, like, look at my mouth.
Yeah,
like,
that's amazing.
It's like, dude, I don't want to tour your house.
Right.
Like, I do
want to party
all day long. Okay. Thank you. So I have zero interest in houses.
Interesting.
Obviously I know about houses. Yeah. Clearly I'm not going to sell myself short on that, but ultimately I talked about my head hitting the pillow really well.
Yeah.
I love helping people. That's what I have really drilled this down to, is I love helping people.
Yeah.
And in real estate, every day I wake up unemployed. And I am able to tell you, like, yes, I can help you with that. And here's how we're going to help you. Or if you're delusional, which most people are, like, no, I cannot. I'm sorry, I cannot deliver that price. I'm sorry, if you want to buy this new home, we're on a unicorn hunt.
Yeah.
Like, so, and then I feel like I told them the truth.
Yeah.
And I helped them. And, you know, really, my business has evolved over different life phases. So like, first we started with like the first time home buyers, which we still serve a lot of first time home buyers. And those are my favorite people. And then it evolved, of course, into people buying their forever home.
Yeah.
And then
that would be repeat business from first time home buyers?
Sometimes, but sometimes people would contact us, like they're our first time clients, but they already have owned a home.
Interesting.
So we would list their first house and help them buy their forever home.
Yeah.
And then life takes lots of plot twists.
Sure
and so, you know, sometimes they would end up having a larger family than they planned. So they needed a bigger house than they thought.
Yep.
Sometimes they would take a new job opportunity and they needed to move away out of town.
Yeah.
Sometimes, you know, I'm hitting the divorce phase of life just based on age.
Totally.
So sometimes they need to sell their primary residence and split up into 2 households, which sometimes involves us helping them with all 3 or just 1, depending on, you know, how collaborative. Unfortunately, you know, a lot of people have aging families, aging parents in my sphere. So now they have family members or parents dying or going into assisted living.
Downsizing.
And they need to sell that house for various reasons. Downsizing. I was going to get to that one.
I'm sorry.
No, you did not steal my thunder on downsizing of all these things that we're talking about. Yeah. Okay. Number 1, live with less clutter, because people's stuff stands in the way often of them making the right decision from a real estate standpoint. Like we were saying, make the next right move.
Yeah.
People become overwhelmed by their stuff. They accumulate too much stuff in their lifetime. So first of all, now you have like our children who like we're dead in this scenario.
Yeah. Right.
And they like can't sell our house because we have too much shit
sitting there. We swear on this.
Oh, we do. Okay.
Yeah,
okay. Well, I'm a former elementary teacher, so I have a pretty clean mouth. So
I'm medium clean mouth.
Okay. So anyway, people's stuff stands in the way of them selling the parents' house, selling their house. It's like, I can't get it ready. They're like overwhelmed. So live light from a stuff standpoint. You can't take it with you.
Yeah, sure can.
Okay, so that's 1. And then 2, downsizing is the hardest activity. And downsizing could come from the activity of like being an empty nester, or I suppose like we talked about going through a divorce. In some cases, not everyone downsizes in that case, but people start searching for their new home And they're like, wait a minute, there's not as much storage. Wait a minute, it's only a 2-car garage. Wait, I had a 3-car garage. Wait, this primary suite is smaller than I was expecting. And it's like, we are downsizing. Which means smaller and less.
We're going to have to start branding it small sizing.
But right. Like small in corporate America, because I learned this from a lot of women in junior league. Cause I've been in junior league since like, I just went sustainer and I just rolled off the board like 30 days ago. Okay, girl. Yeah. 14 years or whatever.
That's insane. Hayden is 13.
Okay. Yep. There you go.
And you were my like group leader. Well, I don't know what that was called. I'm sorry.
But I hear all these things because the women that I said on the boardroom, they always use like right sizing. They're like obsessed with that term. I'm like, that must be a corporate America. It's very much so. Anyway, so downsizing is really right sizing. It's like right sizing for your lifestyle.
Yes.
It does seem to be a very emotionally and from an expectation standpoint, which like our job is to set realistic expectations for our clients. And downsizing seems to be one where we have to set really realistic expectations because they're sort of delusional in what they think will happen.
I think you're just making me think of so much so that like, in this profession, probably also in teaching, probably also in medicine, your job is so much more than buying and selling homes. You are like digging into the insights of what it's like to be a buyer or a seller, what the challenges that you're a part therapist.
Yes. Very
it's
much
bedside manner.
I know everything that's going on in their life. I know where they sleep, who they sleep with, how they bathe or shower. I'm like, it's like, and obviously all of that strategically stays confidential.
Of course.
Because I'm a professional and my team, same way. But it is funny what you learn about people. And it's also fun because it humanizes. I think I told you before, one of my favorite quotes is show the world you're a work in progress.
Yeah.
And I love humanizing, like I said, the experience, right? It's like, oh my gosh, like this person snores, so I need this room. Or like I have this incredible shoe collection, so I need a separate room for my shoes. Like I'm a woodworker, so I need, you just learn really cool things about people because everyone's needs and where they live are very different. And when people are selling, their objectives, sometimes it's straight about the money. Sometimes it's about creating a better life for their family. It's always a different reason. And so I love learning their why and then helping them achieve that. That's really back to I don't care about houses. I care about why people are making the move and how can we help make it as seamless as possible.
Girl, that 1 year in sales did you good. Cause I was like, that's exactly what a strategic brief is for like any type of business project is like, what is the why? What are the objectives? What are the goals? How can we measure it? Let's get into the insights. Like, okay, look at you. That's amazing. And it very much so shows because one, like you are such an authentic person, like truly what you see is what you get. And I know that you cannot put your head on the pillow at night without one, showing up as your authentic self, but two, telling the truth at all times. Like that
sometimes the truth hurts and it's painful.
Right.
And it's freeing.
And it is so freeing. It is absolutely liberating. But I think that that's amazing. And I think that's one of the things that absolutely sets you apart. Are you like me and taking at least an hour to plan your meals every week and then to grocery shop on top, only to find out that I throw away half of it because I didn't have it in me to season and chop and prep night after night? It's so embarrassing and I feel awful about it. Are you also like me and worry about if any of the things I buy are healthy enough for me and the family? Well, let me tell you about Hungry Root. Hungry Root is my partner for healthy living. Hungry Root helps me save time, save money. I shop sustainably, and I eat what makes me feel my absolute best. Their mission is to make it easier for more people to eat healthy and feel great every day. Some of my very favorite aspects of Hungry Root are healthy meals in 10 minutes or less. I mean it. No chopping, no seasoning, ever. They do it all for you. Honestly, full stop. This is my very, very favorite thing. Every meal is so easy to put together. Often they have steamer bags for vegetables and all sorts of great microwave options too. They also give you healthy snacks and pantry supplies my kids and I both love. They're whole, trusted ingredients, which makes me feel like a great mom because I actually know that I'm putting good things in the pantry and in the fridge. Personalized recommendations based on your goals. Mine is heart healthy, and it ships to me on my schedule. The best part is also less food waste. No more throwing food out each week, which feels amazing. All you have to do is take their super simple quiz and share your preferences, goals, must-haves, and they'll recommend a plan for you and just fill your fridge with food you love. You could be like me and let them surprise you with meals each week, or you can go in and adjust each week before they actually send it to you. And let me tell you, they love your feedback. This is the one thing I actually do. I'll go in there and I'll tell them to send me more of a certain meal or less of a certain snack because we didn't really care for it. One simple click and your order is adjusted. Hungry Root is so much more than a meal kit. They send full-size groceries, which is so much better better than pre-portioned package you get with your meal kits. Honestly, couldn't be happier. Use your code WriteYourOwnStory40 for 40% off your first delivery plus a free gift for life. Use code WriteYourOwnStory40 or just click the link in the show notes for 40% off your first delivery plus a free gift for life. 40% off is huge. The free gift for life promotion is a choice of free cookie dough for life, free veggies for life, or free protein for life. For life means the length of your subscription. Honestly, guys, I love Hungry Roots so much. It saves my butt every single week, and I could not recommend it enough. Don't forget, use the code WriteYourOwnStory40 or just click the link in the show notes. Okay, so we were kind of joking about this off camera, but I feel like everybody wants to be a realtor. And I know, deep breath. On the positive, I am a firm believer that there is room for everyone in every category.
Yes,
because
I agree with that too.
Every category, every profession, everything is a crowded space.
Yep.
So the way that I see this manifest in my world is a lot of people are afraid to show up online and promote their business because they get kind of that imposter syndrome because they're like, everybody else does this. What am I going to say that's different? She did it so perfectly, like, et cetera, et cetera. Real estate is such a crowded category. How do you handle that?
So my former brokerage had a lot of good like one-liners.
Ooh.
And one of theirs was fear or faith, you choose.
Ooh.
And so I do think it's about being bold and you can't be afraid. And if it's what you want, you have to go for it because no one else is going to want it for you.
Absolutely.
You know? So
that is the definition of being an entrepreneur. And even though you have a huge team, like you said, you wake up unemployed every day.
I wake up unemployed. And now, which we'll talk about, I'm sure, but my business has evolved. So now I wake up unemployed and I have like, when you start in real estate, you have really like no overhead, which is one of the advantages of it.
Yeah,
you have very low overhead.
Yeah.
You're not opening your own brick and mortar. And all.
Right.
But now I wake up and everyone else's job counts on me getting up and being my best self, Yeah. So, anyway, what was the question?
I know, but wait, I'm so into this.
Crowded space.
It's a crowded space. So how do you deal with this? Because you wake up unemployed with the hunger of an entrepreneur.
Yes. So
basically it's crowded. What do you do?
Well,
how do you handle it?
We talked about this a little off camera as well. So everyone's a realtor,
everyone.
So I used to, and I shouldn't say I used to, I'm on a little pause, but I also used to be a blogger and my life just hasn't had capacity for that right now. So everyone's a blogger, everyone's, an influencer, everyone is a realtor.
Indeed.
The barrier for real estate entry, respectful to my career, I have a double master's degree, is pathetic. It's very easy to get into real estate. There is a very high, and I don't really care about the earning potential, but there is a very high earning potential. However, I don't know the statistic now, but per the National Association of Realtors a few years ago, so I didn't do my research, but the average realtor makes less than $22,000 a year.
Oh my gosh.
So because like in our Cincinnati market, at least the last number I saw, there's 6,000 licensed realtors in Cincinnati. And there's about probably 200 who sell real estate, like not full time. There's more than 200, but who really make like a solid living doing it. Because the ability to succeed in real estate, because there's so much smoke and mirrors. Like when you say like who you show up as is who you are. I really try to patrol our social media the best that I can because I don't want to fluff this, even though all social media is freaking fluffed.
Yep.
Truly. I'm never going to tell you I'm having the worst day of my life today. Well,
I know.
Some people do. And I admire that.
I will.
That's not who I know. That's not who I am. And that's okay. But I also think you have to be real. And you have to be authentic. And social media is skewed. So people are not showing you so I spend most of my day dealing with
I love this. This is
mold. Like where I left today was
a
mold test, a termite test, leaky toilets. I'm hiding plungers. I'm hiding like dirty underwear under beds, like for photos. I'm dealing with, did I already say termites? Did I say that?
Yes, but we can
sewer backups, like literally SHIT again.
I'll say it.
Like literally that's what I'm dealing with. So day to day. So like Instagram, obviously we paint look at how pretty this house is and look at how great we are. And, but day to day which is the same as I was when I was an administrator or a teacher. I have a fire extinguisher on my back and every day I wake up, which is what I love about what I do. But every day I wake up, I have no clue what is about to and like people in corporate America, as I understand, not all of corporate America, it's like this Zoom call is about this. And let's like talk about this. Like mine is like, bang, bang. Someone has a tax lien they didn't know about. Someone died. And now whose name is the deed in? How are we going to sell this when, just every day it's like flinging something at the wall and hoping it sticks in the sense that what I have learned is every problem has a solution.
Yes.
And it's how much and how painful. So I am here to guide people to solutions.
Yeah.
But it is a crowded space. I didn't to bring it back to that.
I mean, the realtors that I've worked with have been amazing and like, you know, helping me navigate all that stuff. But I never would have thought about that as being like, if you were to break down the percentage pie of your day, that putting out fires is a large portion of the pie.
Oh yeah. It's mostly like tax liens, problems with the houses. You know, it's like very rarely, like, I mean, obviously I'll spend like an hour a day, like on the photos.
Yeah. And
like today I was at a closing. Yeah. That's good. Hey, that's what we're all working towards.
Right. Did they get the personalized bin that you give everyone? I love stuff like that.
Yeah. Those are our buyers. So our sellers, we give them either a Christmas ornament of their house, or a woman on my team draws the pictures too. So we try to tailor, you know, personalized custom gifts.
Yeah.
That's definitely really for our clients. But
do you think that essentially what I'm hearing, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that like it is the ability to wake up before your eyes even open, embracing the fact that you don't know what you're going to get that day, and so much of your day is putting out fires, is what takes the 6,000 that are licensed to the 200 that are making money, that have the tenacity and the commitment and all the other things that to handle.
And that's where it's also like rep status, right? So we sell about 200 houses a year. So I've gotten a lot of pushback. I told you about like the part-time agent, and part-time agents hate on me for saying you can't be a part-time agent. It is somebody's largest financial asset. Yeah. So my team knows that I am ruthless. You are not to show up to a showing, an inspection in blue jeans, and you are not to show up in your tennis skirt. A lot of agents obviously show up in their sneakers and tennis skirts. If they're walking a large property in Indian Hill, I say your foot, you know, your attire, you know, match your day, right? Yeah. Sometimes I look like an idiot when I'm walking like in stilettos, like, sometimes I bring like, you know, wellies to change it to.
Right.
But
car wellies.
Yeah. But it is most people's, not everyone's. And as we start increasing our price point and aging, in some cases, it's not their largest financial asset. However, for most of America, their largest financial asset is the real estate that they own. And so it is critical that you hire someone who is an expert. Just like I wouldn't go to a doctor who dabbles, and I know I'm being dramatic because I know that no one's life is on the line. However, their money is on the line,
right? Which is
their livelihood.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so, you know, I don't dabble in real estate, and I don't think you should hire, not you, anyone should hire someone who dabbles in real estate. Yeah. Because the market changes very rapidly. Yeah. The strategies to sell a house or buy a home change very quickly. I can literally feel, like I can tell you how this weekend went by how many contracts we ended up with, how many showings we had on our listings, how many buyer controlled contracts we acquired this weekend. And like, I can tell you, because it's, you know, coming up on July, like how it will change as a result, and how our strategy for writing an offer should change seasonally, and, you know, all those things, and what we're seeing to navigate to the closing table now versus 3 months ago. So if you hire someone who is part-time and doesn't really have that experience or expertise, they don't have the most recent information they need to represent your best interest and serve as your fiduciary, in my opinion. Yeah. Also, you know, from a resource standpoint, now that my team has grown, we have a dedicated marketing coordinator, a dedicated listing coordinator, and a dedicated contract to close client services. So, and a dedicated buyer specialist in every unique neighborhood. Wow. So, you know, now instead of hiring sort of the jack of all trades, you're hiring a team for the same cost as a single person that really has areas of expertise and additional support. So
that's so interesting. Are a lot of teams well, first of all, I want to talk about how you've built your team and everything like that. But okay, so it is a crowded category. You absolutely. So I think, you know, one of the things that you have done is you have absolutely carved your own path by sort of creating your own mantra, if you will, or mission around how you show up for this, understanding that this is someone's biggest financial asset, et cetera. Now you've built this team. Let's talk about building a powerful team of women, which you have, which I just absolutely freaking love. So strategically,
men can apply, but they have to be able to handle us. Yeah. And so far that has not happened.
I love that. You can try. Yeah, you can try.
They can try.
I feel the same way
if
about
they're
my dating
okay
life.
About what we talk about.
You can try.
And if they can deal with us, they can hang with us.
Right. Then you can maybe try and stay around.
We do have like hot pink chairs in our office. I
love this. Okay. So you're building this team of women. I love sort of how you laid out the strategy of building it around areas of expertise. In real estate, is that typically how this top 200 function And
it's where it has gone now.
Okay.
So it's the evolution of the career in real estate. And I don't think I've told you about this, but I have a new business venture.
No.
Okay. So I have a new business venture with my business coach, Steve Euler, and his son, Scott Euler, who are dear friends and mentors to me.
I was just DMing with Kristen the other day.
No way. Yeah. And so we have actually started these seminars that we wrote a curriculum. Oh, look at how this comes back around. See how convenient this is.
Literally was just going to ask what skills from your previous career
They pulled me into it because Steve's my business coach and Scott is his son. And I really respect both of them so much. Yeah. And they're very successful.
Very.
And
good people.
And Steve was like, see, we need Megan because she's going to put the course together. She's going to get the presentation together. The teacher in me is like, and here's the handouts. And anyway, but our seminars are about how to build a team.
Yes.
And how to, what's it called? So build a team and how to, they're going to be like, Megan, come on. Because I came up with a name, how to run basically a highly effective team or something, whatever, high performing team.
Oh, I was like,
So last year we had the opportunity, Euler Hines, who is a combined team, powerhouse in our brokerage.
Yeah.
They were number one in our company and our team was number two.
Amazing.
And so we've kind of taken this show on the road. Our wonderful president of our company has hired us to basically go around, and we've been to several markets.
That's amazing.
Like, next stop is St. Louis.
I was going to say, how far are you going?
We went to Pittsburgh. We went to Minneapolis. We're going into St. Louis. And eventually I think we'll open it up to other brokers. We did a Cincinnati Columbus seminar. And it's been really fun because it's been the opportunity to kind of wear that teacher hat. It's also been that opportunity, back to what you're saying about building the team, to reflect on how did we do this and what was important along the way, what were the takeaways, and how can we use this to educate? Because we're really educating other realtors on how, if they wish to start a team, what the business model looks like, what considerations you need to have, how to really structure yourself so that you can be a team.
It's the reason that people get into teams is because they're like, okay, the volume of interest is just becoming too high and I need someone to help me with this.
So there's a lot of reasons to be on a team. So for me, why I started a team was I did not have, my business grew faster than I was able to provide the level of service that I would stand by. So I say I grew a team to have more eyes, ears, minds, and hearts and arms and legs to run.
Yeah.
But I was very strategic about who joined my team because it's very important to me that they were providing the same level of service.
Yes.
Like, we are not salespeople. Truly not. Like, we are educators, and actually some members of my team are also former teachers as well.
Oh, that's cool.
But it's really about educating people through the process and through making an informed purchase or an informed sale.
Yeah.
But teams are really, because the pace of the market has been, which I know we're going to talk about too.
Yeah.
The market is so fast moving that, for example, we're going to be sitting here for an hour on air.
Yeah.
Someone could need to see a house like right now. Yeah. And I'm not looking at my phone.
Oh my God.
And
okay.
so
yes, let's get into
anxiety.
this.
I need to check my phone.
I know.
So the demand, the inventory is very low and the demand is very high. And so to have a team means that we can provide the best service to our clients because we can have a buyer's agent also on call so that one of the two of us will get back to you immediately to schedule the showing. So, that's another reason why having a team. So for me, in order to scale my business, you can only sell. So, and Steve, this is sort of Steve's thing. But I mean, you can really sell, not only, but you can effectively sell between 30 to 50 houses on your own in a year.
Okay.
And after that, and even during that, it's a mess. Behind the scenes, it's messy. Your paperwork is sloppy. You're dropping the balls in your personal life or, on your marketing or wherever. You're dropping a ball somewhere, right? It's like rubber balls. I learned this, like rubber balls and glass balls, right? So sometimes you're dropping rubber balls, they'll bounce back.
Right.
But sometimes you're dropping glass balls. And so to have a team gives you more leverage and more ability to try to hold those glass balls sacred.
I love that. So that not only allows you to scale your business, but it keeps the level of service as an educator, as a facilitator, at top tier, which is absolutely critical.
Yeah.
Okay. So we've talked a lot about your mentor, because I was like, okay, so you bopped into sales, you crushed that. And then you're like, real estate, here's how I'm getting into that. Tell me about how you set yourself up for success when you're just getting started. Did you find a mentor immediately? Did your brokerage set you up with a mentor? So
when I first got into real estate,
how did you learn these skills?
Shout out to Amy B. So Amy B has been a wonderful mentor for me. She actually has her own set of courses that really taught us how to better educate the buying and selling process.
Yeah.
And so at my former brokerage, she was really my first mentor in the business.
Awesome.
And so she helped kind of get me going.
Yeah.
And I'm forever grateful. And then when I wanted, and that's when I was an individual agent.
Okay.
In the meantime, I obviously had a toddler at the time.
Yeah.
And then I found out within my first year of starting my business that I was expecting our second child.
Oh my goodness.
So it was like drinking from a fire hose, of course. And
that's how that stage of life is.
And my business was doubling, and it was like, okay, I'm thrilled. This is the career path I want. And holy smokes, I'm like waddling around. Like, what do I do?
Yeah.
And so that's when I moved to a different brokerage. And that's when I met Steve Euler, who helped me really, like, I was so desperate. And at the time, I would have said 2017 was like one of the darkest years of my life because our son was born. I was not sleeping. My business was doubling, which was amazing.
Right.
But my life was upside down behind the scenes. And so I was so grateful when I moved to Coldwell Banker because my head was like on the desk. And I was like, I will do whatever you say or I quit.
Yeah, totally.
And so I literally, like, I think that's why he asked me to do these courses with himself and his son, because I was like his best student, because I was like, whatever you say, I will do, because I'm so desperate to turn the ship around, not on the business end of it.
Yes.
And so it was great. I mean, I literally step by step followed his like formula.
Right. Cause you're like, I need to systemize this. I need this to be simple because my brain is mush because a child just was born.
So I made my first hires and the core of my team was born. So I literally hired Liz Hybe, who's our primary buyer's agent, and Tracy Nestidy, who's now our home sweet NKY.
Cool.
I prefer not to cross the river. I prefer to let her live in her specialty.
That's her area of expertise.
Yes. And she also is very knowledgeable about the East Side, but I do not cross the river. And I do not apologize for that. I don't.
You do you, girl.
And also like the traffic back and forth creates massive anxiety for me. I also don't like driving across bridges.
Oh, right.
Don't tell anyone.
I won't tell anyone.
Hi, everyone.
No, just kidding. Megan's not coming. Honestly, if you're Kentucky, I'm really sorry.
I love all the businesses and restaurants and all the real estate in Kentucky. Bridges kind of give me the heebie-jeebies.
Oh my God, we're gonna have to bout you across. We're gonna give you a rowboat.
Private helicopter. No,
yes,
just kidding.
Please.
No, there's other tragic stories about that. But anyway, I'm a tragic planner, which we haven't talked about yet. Anyway, so that's where the heart of my team was born, and it has expanded. It's like blown up since then. Then I've right-sized it. It's kind of gone through an evolution.
As all teams do.
Exactly. And so right now, I think we have mostly the right rears in the chairs.
Yeah. Butts in seats.
Yep. And so for the most part, I think we do. We're always looking to hire new talent. I think for a while I was getting too many people to then it became like a management nightmare.
Totally.
And I left a career where I was already a manager, and no offense being a manager, I like didn't want to be one necessarily, but
you want to drive the difference.
And here I am.
Da, 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 da.
Yeah. Managing everyone. And so anyway, it's just been an evolution.
Okay. So tell me your thoughts on, now that you have such an awesome core, but also pretty extensive team, you are in more of a manager position.
I'm not. Steve fired me from that job this year.
Oh my God. Tell me everything.
All right.
Okay.
So I was the manager.
Yeah.
And I liked it, but it also was how I spent most of my day.
Right.
And this year he said, stop.
I love it.
And I did. And so now our client coordinator is also our kind of operations team manager.
Bless.
And so she's in charge of the management things, and those fall on her now. And so that has been a big pivot.
I love that.
My job description pretty much changes on the regular. And then I also, here's a scary one. And also I haven't shared this with anyone. No.
Breaking news. Drink more rosé.
But I also had never given out from 2015 until January of this year, 2024. My Instagram login belonged to no one but me. I had never given away my Instagram login because I had this whole like, this is my baby and no one else is my voice. And I am only my voice. People would message me like, I'm sure this is not Megan. But anyway, could you tell Megan or could you ask Megan? I'm like, no, hi, it's me.
It's literally me.
I'm the problem. It's me. Yeah. Like, we just went to Taylor Swift.
Yeah, obviously.
Like, it's me. And so I gave away my Instagram login. Yeah. I still am my Instagram login. However, I also leveraged someone is more specialist because the social media game, like
it has changed drastically.
From when I started to when I'm doing it now. You can't create your own. Well, I could, but I cannot effectively create my own reels. We owe it to our sellers to have higher level marketing.
Yeah.
So that has just been like a challenge, but I love using our social media, and why I strategically named our social media what I did was I also love to use it as a megaphone for local businesses, local attractions. What makes Cincinnati so special? Because I try to make it so that you would want to follow us, even if you're not at that moment looking to buy or sell.
That's incredibly, first of all, it is just on brand for who you are. You love this town, you love this city, you love supporting people, but from a strategic standpoint, it very much so, draws an audience from these other businesses. It creates a sharing culture. It's incredibly smart. So if you have a very niche business, don't be afraid to be outside of your niche and just show up as you. And if you love Cincinnati and you want to plug businesses, for example, it is a great way not only to be authentic to who you are, to the brand that you're building, but to grow your social media as well.
Yeah. And I think it goes back to what you said. I don't know what you said about the crowded category. Like there's enough room for everybody.
There is.
So when I talk to you about our seminars, a lot of my colleagues have said to Scott and myself, why are you teaching other people to build teams or run teams? Like, aren't you just training your competition? And I won't speak for myself, so I'll like deflect it to Scott. But I think that is truly an indicator of who we are as people, because I don't see it. I do not see it as that I'm training my competition.
Yeah.
I see it that we are making someone else's life better as a result of the hardships, because building a business is gut wrenching, as you know. You know this.
I sure do.
And there's a lot of struggle in it, and there's a lot of triumph, of course, as well. And so I'd love to help try to really bridge that gap for someone else better than I probably did myself. So there's enough space. And same with like promoting local businesses. Like when you help someone, and I don't help people for my own gain,
of course,
but first of all, it like fills your cup to help others, right? I told you before, like I always want to help people, and I want to be that person like for someone else. Like a young woman in the business called me this weekend. Yeah. And she was like, I need to talk to you. You're a strong woman in the industry. And she thought she was being discriminated against. This is going to kill you, because she was a woman.
Oh, I've had to go goosebumps and I want to go murder people.
I know. And the co-op agent was basically like being very condescending and rude. And I have only closed one real estate, I don't like to say transaction, sale with this agent. She's younger in the business than I am. She's not at my brokerage. She literally called, and just like I think as all women we should do to one another, like if you're going through a hard time, call someone that you admire and be like, I think I've seen you go through this, and I need you right now. And like
I have goosebumps head to toe. Oh my God, you are a chicken.
And so when she called me this weekend and said, I need to talk to you about this, I was like, heck yeah. Look at me, not the cuss words. I was like, I am so happy you called me, and let me tell you the inside scoop of this kind of thing. And so I really think there's enough room for everyone.
Truly.
I think if you help people, karma, what is Taylor's karma?
Karma is my boyfriend.
Karma is my boyfriend. I'm like, what is it? Emery my daughter would be super upset that I didn't remember that. Cause after for 3.5 hours, she did not like when I sat down for 5 minutes at the Taylor Swift concert. Like literally she's like, don't sit down. I'm like, when did we go to the bathroom? When did we get a drink?
You don't.
No. She was like, I'm not having any water. I'm like, okay, what about me?
What about me? I know. You're like, I'm going to go buy 4 cans.
So anyway, Karma is my boyfriend. So, I think it's one of those things where like you put positive energy into the universe, you help others. People are naturally going to want to help you. And so unfortunately, specifically, and it's what most of real estate shows are built around, it's spicy. And there's a lot of backstabbing. There's a lot of competition, and there's a lot of gaslighting, and there's a lot of hating. And really, when you build others up, you are also building something in yourself. And that's the way I run my team. That's the way we run our team. That's the way we serve our clients. And that's the way I love to just show up for local businesses and local women. Is that like really just like standing on the shoulders of others.
Absolutely. Every single person that has sat on this couch with me or has been over Zoom has experienced something and has then turned around and held out the hand for someone behind them. So for you,
that's what you need to do.
That is what all women need to do.
Because I went through this experience, I can help others navigate it better or stronger, or even no differently than I did, but just get them through it, get the frick through it,
right? And sometimes you just need to you need to be validated to be like, yes, you were discriminated against, but you know what? Let's take a breath. You can do this. Here's what I did. And then she can choose to take that exact model verbatim because she just had a baby in his eyes. She didn't, but head on the table, exhausted like you were, or she could take that as inspiration. But regardless, you have given her the permission to be brave and be strong because she needed that validation at that time. And this is what we do.
Totally. And since I know cussing is okay, I don't know if religion's okay, but
that's fine.
But everything is welcome. Like this is not necessarily a religious thing, but I've pulled it from my own faith.
Right.
But it doesn't have to be a religious experience. Is from great pain comes incredible joy. And so if you don't experience that pain, and like the ultimate, like in the Bible, they talk about like basically that childbirth is number 1. Dun, 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 dun. But like it is like, if you don't have suffering, you don't understand the joy.
Truly.
So,
truly.
anyway.
I think Hillary and I talked about this on the episode, is that, everyone has been through something. Everyone has perspective. So many things that are, such of these big moments of perspective. They're the perspective you never wanted, but it is the greatest gift.
If you could sign yourself up for these things, these life events, you would not.
No, I sure would not.
And they definitely form who you are. So, my dad died when I was very young.
Right.
My mom was pregnant with my sister. Can you imagine?
No, literally. No.
It's why I'm a tragic planner. It's why I am a strong, independent woman, because I was raised by an incredibly strong and independent woman.
Look at me, I'm a full goose.
And she is a bad arse in her own right. And no one messes with Mama Sue.
No.
Nor should they.
No.
And literally. She's short but mighty.
She sure is. And she's also like so incredibly lovely and gracious.
She's wonderful.
But she packs a punch when she needs to. And she's
stylish doing it.
She sure is.
Yeah.
I'm like,
she's great. And everyone knows her. She's a local celebrity.
Literally.
Because she taught everyone in first grade. She pulled out everyone's teeth in first grade. She's great. And truly, she is awesome.
She is awesome.
And the other thing I talked about when I changed high schools, I got expelled from high school.
Shut the front
Did you not know this about me?
No.
Oh, look. Oh, we are revealing all sorts of things on this show.
This is so...
More rosé. Write your own story.
Write your own story. I will literally pause to pour us more rosé if we need to. Oh my God.
So why I became an educator and principal in general, I think, is because I got expelled from high school.
Oh my God.
And so
this is literally the last thing on the earth I ever thought you would say.
I know, because I'm a perfectionist achiever personality. That is correct. It's the last thing on earth I ever thought would happen to me as well.
Yeah.
So
that sounds so clearly so formative though.
Oh, I was like a dork, not a dork, but like I went to this party. It was a murder mystery party and you were supposed to play different characters. And I was the Valley girl and people were like, oh, for real? I'm like, no, I'm smart. Are you freaking kidding me?
Right.
Like, I was like, wait, what? I am not I'm like, no, this is the character for the show.
You're like, I showed up for the assignment because that's what I do. I overachieve and over deliver.
Yeah. But literally I'm like, wait, what? No. I'm like, no, I was like in AP classes as a sophomore. I was like a dork. I like had my shirt tucked in. I've never gotten a detention. But I got expelled. I never got suspended either.
I had so many detentions.
I never did. Not one.
Oh my God.
Not one in my whole life.
Mine were always for being tardy or occasionally acting out in class. But like in my next life, I'm going to be on time.
Yeah.
In this one, absolutely.
But anyway,
not.
I was at the wrong place at the wrong time. I put myself in the wrong situation.
Yeah.
And it was like back in the day when people were drinking, I'm sure they still are, at dances, underage drinking.
I'm sure they are.
Yeah. And a group of people who were in the car when the alcohol was purchased were deemed the supply. It's not funny.
You're a supplier.
And so it was like at that time, obviously outside of the tragedy of my dad passing, which is obviously tragic.
Yes.
But from an achiever personality standpoint,
right.
It was such a pivot. It was such a failure.
To fail.
It was so hard because I'm such a perfectionist, such an achiever, have to have like a 4.0, have to be National Honor Society. However, it was such a formative experience. And again, if you told me sign up for this, I would have never signed up for it. And it is honestly one of the most important things that's happened in my life because it's changed who I am. But it's why I went down the whole path of wanting to be an administrator. Like when I look back at why did I want to be a teacher? My mom was a teacher.
Right.
I was business. I switched to education. I said, Mom, I want to make a difference in the world. And she's like, don't do it. Like, because she's like, it's a really hard job, And then I was like, I want to be an administrator because I want to treat people differently than how I was treated because I was a person.
Yeah.
People make mistakes.
Yes.
I've made a billion mistakes.
Right.
But in this circumstance, from a consequence standpoint,
scale.
I made one error.
Yeah.
I had a clean record otherwise.
Yes.
And we were used as like an example to basically kind of lay down. Yes. And it changed so much about my life. And actually that principal, I like wrote letters to pretty much for like the rest of my high school experience. Like, let me show you all the other things I've achieved. And you gave up on me. And so it's a good reminder to not give up on yourself and believe in yourself. And even when you're at a low point or you've made a mistake or you've failed,
yes.
or whatever.
Right. In your definition of what it meant to show up. Yes.
It's back to that springboard. So it stunk and it was terrible and I hated it. Terrible. And I had to like go to this school where like I had known people and I've been like, I'm going off to this other school. Not like I'm so great, but just like I'm not. And then you have to like come back and like, humility and being humble is sometimes a really hard thing to do as an achiever personality.
Especially at that age.
Yeah. And it's okay, but it's okay.
Right.
And so it was a good experience in hindsight.
Is that what made you fall in love with your favorite quote about showing up messy? That was an experience where
I just think life is like, motherhood, back to the answer of motherhood, like, especially when I had two kids, and this since you have more than two kids as well. Like when I had two kids, everyone could be in Beaufort bonnet and everyone could match and I could match them and everyone's hair could be this and like everything was everything. And then my little plot twist, Gunner, like literally I was like, and you're dressed and you're fed. And I don't know if you brush your teeth, but we're out the door.
We're out the door.
And you're wearing 2 different shoes.
Yes.
And so all of a sudden a lot about that part of me, like the mess, changed. And I learned to embrace the mess a little bit better than I had previously, because you just can't be perfect all the time.
That is seriously one of my very favorite gifts of motherhood. It is that I always say, cause I have 4, it's like they beat you to submission, but at the end of the day, I mean, when will my boys, okay, my oldest cares, but when will my younger boys care that their pants are on backwards?
They won't.
They literally won't.
They won't. My kids wear Ford wears I'm like, those sweatpants don't fit you, and now I just let them get themselves dressed. I stop.
Absolutely.
This is Easter.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Same.
But it's okay, whoa, those are too short. And what is that t-shirt? You know what I mean?
Yes.
And it's just oh, well.
I know. Actually, it was my oldest, Hayden, that to get out the door to go to daycare so that I could go to my corporate job, he wore, and I was the same. I dressed him to the nines, and he at 2 insisted on wearing dinosaur rain boots every single day.
I love that. Both of my boys have done that.
For 2 years. And then every single day it had to have some accessory. It was a pair of goggles. I was like, sure. Are we out there? Literally
cape.
A cape. Absolutely. Fireman's hat. I know. Honestly, I wouldn't care. I truly categorically would not care, but also just
gotta get out the door.
The car.
Wear whatever you want. We have to leave.
We gotta go.
Yeah.
I know. Yes. It is a way of breaking you down in the most beautiful way. God, I don't even know where we were, but I'm obsessed with this. Okay. So
there's beauty in the breakdown.
There is beauty in the breakdown. There's beauty in the pivots. I love that you have been taken out of sort of the management role in the operations. I think that also true is leaning in. When you are a high achiever, you can essentially kind of do everything and do everything well because you have the grit to figure it out and get it done.
One of my favorite words.
Yes, truly. But at the end of the day, you have to lean into where your passion and your gifts are. And gifts are different than grit in my mind.
Yep, totally.
And so I think, and that again, going back to this sort of authentic life, I love that you've quote unquote fired yourself from being the manager and you're let me.
Well, Steve fired me.
Right. I wasn't going to stay. If
I'm self-employed, but he he's and we're firing you. Actually, he called me today for my accountability. And I was like, well, it's the 4th of July week. So can't we kind of take the week off? So, But it is. I mean, you do. And what is great about being self-employed, if you will, is I do get to choose what my role is. And I get to hire talent around me to fill those other areas of need.
Yes. Okay. So are you a stay-at-home mom who has an idea you just can't stop thinking about, but worry that adding something for you will negatively impact your family? Are you a corporate mom who's got a passion for something and is desperate for more freedom and flexibility, or really anything in between? Are you in business? Maybe it's full-time or a part-time, but you're feeling stuck? Are you overwhelmed, or maybe it's exhaustion, or just genuinely don't know what to do next? Well, trust me, I know how you feel. I've been exactly where you are today. I've been the mom drowning in her corporate career. I've been the mom staying home, but secretly feeling like she's meant for something more. And I've been the mom terrified that her business will impact her family too much, which is exactly why I started the Female Founders Academy, because the world needs what you have to offer. Women deserve mentoring, clear, actionable guidance, resources, and a supportive community. And that's what Female Founders Academy is all about. After my 20-year marketing career at everywhere from McCann, New York to Deloitte and some amazing stops in between, I became a consultant and an entrepreneur once I had 4 kids, 4 and under. In the past 10 years, I've built both a nonprofit and an e-commerce business, and now I'm here with Write Your Own Story. The good news is I know exactly what it takes, and I'm here holding my hand out to help the women behind me live the life they're dreaming about. I'm literally obsessed with business, and absolutely nothing would make me happier than helping women live the life they dream about. That's exactly why I created this Keep It Real, inspiring course built to foster community full of very simple, sharp, tested, highly effective steps that get women feeling simplified, organized, confident, and clear on their business. It's a 5-week community course from October 2nd through 30th, meeting just once a week. Normally price is $9.97, but with early enrollment, you can get it for as little as $6.97, and there are only 20 seats available. We have weekly 1.5-hour interactive classes led by me where we walk through material together and work through it. I offer 30-minute one-on-one consulting sessions just with me so we can talk about your business and get your plan just right. You have access to the interactive Female Founders community of women. These women are amazing, and I love seeing you guys support each other. Not only that, but I want to make sure you keep going. We've got quarterly accountability check-ins so that we can all get together and celebrate what's working and what's not and keep each other moving. With this also comes a printable workbook, digital templates, and recorded trainings because, life happens and sometimes you miss a class. you also get early access and discounts to all future Female Founder Academy offers. Don't forget, only a 20 student limit because I want these women to genuinely get to know each other, support each other, and help each other grow. Visit writeyourownstory.co/Female Founders Academy or just click the link in the show notes to reserve your spot and secure your discount. Don't forget, ladies, the world needs what you have to offer, and I am 100% rooting for you. I can't wait to get started. Yes. Okay. So you've talked about like you have standards and sort of like you look for commonalities. I'm thinking about when you're hiring strategically for sort of the market needs, for lack of a better word, that you're trying to fill. But when you're also hiring people, you're looking for people who sort of respect the process in the same way that you do, have the same passion.
They have to be a cultural fit.
Yeah.
And I've made a lot of wrong decisions there. Mm-hmm. And once you realize it's the wrong cultural fit, you have to part ways.
Oh, how's that?
So actually when Scott and I like teach a seminar, I like laugh because I'm really good at firing people now.
That's amazing.
No, I don't like firing people.
Of course not.
Obviously, who would? Right. And I fire clients too.
Oh, I see. That's also what makes me think about your educating class. Like, the amount of clients that you probably say no to, at least you're building other real estate agents to serve these clients.
There you go. Send them back out to the market.
Right. You're like, you know what? There's other great people.
Back into the sea.
Go back into the sea for these other great people.
For someone else.
That I have trained.
Yeah.
For you.
So, so it's freeing when you realize that somebody or something in your life is not a fit and you have to find a way to move forward. And you have to realize, even though you've put all of your heart and all of your resources into it, it's just not going to work out. And so I do that when I'm coaching, because I coach every person on my team. So when I'm coaching someone, like, you can't want something more for someone than they want for themselves. And that goes for business and it goes for life.
Yes,
you got to write your own story. They have to write their own story. And if they're not willing to do that or write it in a direction that at least helps you get to that shared goal, then they're just not a fit for your book.
Absolutely. And you know what I'm finding that to be true too is in motherhood, because, you know, like like my oldest son was never the like super competitive, aggressive kind of guy. He loved swimming because he could go super fast. And
I've seen you guys at swim meets.
Yeah,
that's good to know.
and not have to touch anyone.
I love it.
He hates hurting people. Like, not that any kid likes.
It's not a
people.
contact sport.
Not a contact sport kid. And also, like, I've joked that he's like my calming goat. Like, when he would toddle into our room when he was like 2, most people are like, I'm like, oh my God, I feel better. Just there's something about his presence that is truly magical. That said, I love contact sports. I love to win. I love to whatever. And I had to learn to sit and wait for Hayden to find his own passion.
Yep.
And I was like, it could be basket weaving. I don't care.
Right.
I just want you to give a F
That's
about
my
something.
son with karate / taekwondo. He gets mad when I say karate, but
right,
taekwondo.
Right. Clearly taekwondo.
Yeah.
But like, if to your point of, if they don't want it like you want it, it's not their thing. And there were so many things that weren't Hayden's thing. And now he is a drummer, a tennis player, an amazing friend, a hell of a student. And I'm like,
Yes.
And I had to let go of all of that. And it has been the greatest blessing as a mother, especially to the 3 kids that follow, to be like, okay, you do you. So similar to on your team, like, you have to align in that way and build that team around you. The same goes for friendships, same goes for relationships. I don't know. Anyway, I just wanted to expand on that a little bit, because that was a lesson that I
think
learned.
It's so true.
As our kids, like, you know, so many of us are having kids that are in that sort of like elementary age that are getting to middle school age. And that's where kids are really coming into their own.
Totally. Or I'm still in diapers.
I know.
I'm not in diapers. Not yet.
Not yet. Oh my God. I can't believe you're going to be out of diapers before you know it.
Yeah. We're really working hard.
Right.
He runs around bottoms naked.
Yeah, well, whatever it takes, honest to God.
I know.
Okay, before we pivot, can you tell me a little bit? We touched on it a little bit, but like, can we just give insight about the market right now? This episode will probably come out next week. So like, let's timestamp it. It is July. It's July 1st, I think.
Okay, the market changes in July. So call us and we'll tell you how. No, just kidding.
Right?
No, just kidding.
Give a couple plugs and we'll call you.
No. So the market is very seasonal, and markets typically run on 7-year cycles. We've been in a seller's market for over 5. I mean, we've been in a seller's market almost the whole time I've been in real estate, frankly.
Yeah.
COVID was a big market disruptor, and it created a lot of need for movement for our generation because they needed to homeschool, they needed to work from home. A lot of people who were retired or living on fixed income or empty nesters wanted to hold tight because they weren't sure how it would impact their ability to, you know, make money, et cetera.
Yes.
And so However, now inventory is so limited still that we are having most of our listings, if priced properly in certain areas of demand, are still going into multiple offer situations. And so people will say, well, like my house is going to sell itself. Why do I need to hire you? Kind of thing. And it's like, well, we're going to navigate you through. I mean, I had a listing close in Mount Lookout last week, $100,000 over list price. And I did not underprice it. Yeah. Like it was priced properly. The comp suggested that. And so we are having a lot of listings still get 3 to 4 offers. In the height of the spring market, they're getting 10 to 12. My whole weekend, like I forget to eat because I'm sitting there like organizing all the offers, talking to all the agents, summarizing all the net sheets, just figuring that. I mean, it really shuts down the whole weekend because it's like I sit there and just field all of that. Not sit, but
right. Pace.
Yes. Yeah. Shut myself, like barricade the door so my kid doesn't scream while I'm trying to do all this. And so the market is still a very hot market. Yes. As you probably know, rates have gone up. Yes. And so we're also in an election year. So often elections.
Is that a factor?
Yeah. So often consumer behavior sort of freezes. Yeah. Usually our market kind of quiets between July and like after Labor Day because it's seasonal. People have sort of hopped out of the market.
And have they like settled on school districts, et cetera?
Yeah. I mean, well, it depends on if so a lot of houses like you're in Indian Hill, that's a school district of choice. And some more like city kind of driven areas. And a lot of our houses we're selling are like the buyer is more likely like dual income, no kids, empty nester, and so those aren't necessarily driven by district, if you will.
Yeah. No, that's
so just point. That depends. But just the activity in general, when it's like the height of summer kind of slows down a little bit compared to spring. Consumer behavior usually freezes around an election because it's like, if your candidate or your candidate, what should I do? I don't want to spend the money if this person wins or this person, which obviously we're not going to get into that. We do not need to do that.
No, it's exhausting.
That debate was so exhausting.
Oh my God.
So anyway, that happens. Rates are projected to go back down as the election nears because that'll stimulate the economy. Yeah. And so when rates go back down, that'll probably help the market a little bit. Typically speaking, after an election year, the home sales go up, but it really depends on how the politics shake out.
Meaning inventory there'll be more inventory?
I don't think so. I think it's going to be a while home building is down. The cost of building is up. A lot of, obviously, rentals and leases are much more expensive than they were. The cost of living, of course, is up. Yeah. And a lot of, honestly, single family houses are now being used in some cases for like Airbnbs, et cetera. So that also decreases the inventory to some degree as well. Not like on a massive scale, but it still does take some houses out of the pool.
Absolutely. I feel like I'm seeing that a lot on trend on social, being like everyone should be a rental tycoon and like own multiple properties. Are you seeing that have any effect on your inventory or not necessarily?
It does have an effect.
Interesting.
It does.
God, I was like, okay, I need to all of a sudden own Airbnb properties. I was like, you know what?
That's a big undertaking.
I'm trying to keep everybody alive around here.
That's why I don't have any plants. Are your plants real?
This one is.
Yeah. This one, look at his brown leaf.
With one dead arm.
Her brown leaf.
Her brown leaf. The only plants that I have that are alive in this house are, oh my God, I can't believe I can't remember the brand right now, but it's the ones where you fill the pot up once a month.
Got it. Water. I don't have any real plants because I can't keep plants alive.
Apparently they're
I have the irrigate. You know how you have like the irrigating pods?
Yeah,
I have that.
Same, outside.
They keep themselves alive because they irrigate unless the irrigation system stops working.
And then they drown or they die.
That's the company's problem, not mine.
Right. And then I know. And then I cry about it.
Then I call them and say, my plant died. It's your fault.
I know, right?
I paid you to keep it alive.
But sometimes somehow it's still my fault and I don't know how. Okay. So you had mentioned that in this crazy market, you're literally having to barricade yourself on the weekend because you've got 10 offers on a house that are $1 bajillion over listing price. What I want to transition into is, yes, people get into real estate for flexibility. A lot of people are transitioning it into motherhood, but you are a high achieving, responsible for a team, waking up unemployed in a market that is driven by this insane demand with such little inventory. How do you put the oxygen mask on and care for yourself? I know this is a paradoxical question that everyone asks, but I love you because I know you're going to give me a real answer.
Okay. So first of all, if you're getting into real estate to have more time, stop now. Find another career path.
I love that.
People the real estate needs are driven by their schedules. And so most of the time they need us when they're off. They need us on nights and weekends when I'm out to dinner. Like that's when they need us. Right. So
because they're not at work. So that's when they want to go see the house.
Get into real estate for more time. That's not going to happen. Mm-hmm. I do control my calendar pretty well. Yeah. So I do time block. When you said like we had to reschedule, like I do control that, which is great. And that's how I put the oxygen mask as a mom with 3 little kids on, is that I am self-employed and everything's an appointment. Yeah. So I have an appointment. I hated working out before I had Gunnar. And I have an appointment with myself and for myself every morning to work out, to exercise. That has become a big thing for me. I love the ladies at my gym. They are very supportive of one another. It's become a community, and I make myself exercise. I was telling you, failure on the pedicure side.
Same.
But I try the best I can. I'm very into my hair appointments. Do not mess with my hair appointments.
Amen.
And I also like from a nail, massage, like lunch with a friend. You know, I can, like in my previous career, if I needed to find any personal time throughout the day, because you're basically a public employee.
Truly. Yeah.
You can't. Yeah. And so now, because at the end of the day, if I take an hour for myself, I'm not getting paid to do that. Right. No one's paying me to do that.
Sure not.
But it's important to prioritize yourself. And so I will time block a massage or a pedicure or a hair appointment or one-on-one time with one of my kids, which is hard to find on nights and weekends when I have 3 that I'm, juggling. Like I can find like little special, like mommy, son or mommy, daughter times. And so I really try. Shopping though, you're going to find this so shocking.
Are you not shopping right now?
I really don't shop like I used to. And I went through a phase where I had to shop like literally because I had Gunnar. And so I gained 60 pounds and I had gotten rid of all my maternity clothes. And so then on the way back down, as every mother has been this, like when I have like a size 2 and 14 in my closet, like I was buying clothes literally to clothe my body because nothing fit, because it was like, and now we're going up and now we're going down.
Yes. And different body parts are going up and down.
It never goes back in the same place.
Sure
doesn't. Ever. And never have the expectation, those of you who do not have children yet, it's never going to go back in the same place.
No.
And that's okay. Not. It's okay.
Absolutely.
But anyway, shopping is like, I love a good retail therapy moment. I honestly don't have a lot of time for retail therapy.
Yeah.
Which is a bummer because it's something I really enjoy, which is probably why I love that my office is in the heart of Hyde Park Square and why all the people that like have shops in Hyde Park Square love us, because I'm like bop in, buy a quick something, run back out, and shop local, of course, is important to me too.
Absolutely.
But so yeah, I find those like 15 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever it is. Like when I was a teacher, I could not even make a phone call to a friend during the day. You can't even use the bathroom when you're a teacher.
I can't imagine.
That's why I have a very strong bladder, because you have to hold it all day.
I do not. After 4 kids, I sure do not.
So anyway, it is like, you have to put the oxygen mask on yourself. And in order to show up as the best mother or daughter, whatever it is that whoever else you need to show up as, volunteer, if someone's married, wife, whatever it is, sister, you have to first put the oxygen mask on yourself. And that is so hard. And as someone who loves to help others, it feels so selfish.
I know.
And what you have to learn is like, it's not selfish. You have to do that to be able to take care of yourself first, to help others that are counting on you.
1,000%.
But time blocking is really important to me. And when you have a corporate job, which I'm not knocking on, where you don't have any control of your calendar, then you have to probably find, if you have kids, like childcare, to be like, this is my Thursday from 5 to 7 is my me time or whatever.
Yes.
Because you need to find that time. It is so important.
And I have learned that the only person that can hold you accountable for that is yourself.
Yes.
So if you are blocking me time to drive change, something about you, whether it be to work on your mental health or to work on your physical health, or because you want more connection with your community. And so you're spending more time with girlfriends. The only person who's going to make that happen is you.
Well, that's why everything on my calendar is an appointment. I have to take the garbage out on my calendar.
I love it.
But it's like, it's an appointment and it cannot be moved.
Yeah.
So if someone needs to have a closing at 8 a.m., they cannot, because I have an appointment. For example, it's like,
yes, truly. Nope.
So.
Okay. So then when you are on the weekends and you've got your kids and you're like, this is my time with my kids, but this is also the highest
That's
demand.
a mess. Let's not talk about that.
Okay, fine. That's fair.
I haven't figured that out exactly yet.
I love
Our
you for
daughter
saying
is old enough now that she can be a helper.
Yeah.
Since we had our little bonus baby. So like the 2 big kids get it. Mom has to make a call.
Yeah.
Like, they were big enough that when I was in the car, if I had to call a client, they would not,
yeah,
totally. But I still, now I have an in the car. So like I can't make calls to clients when my kids are in the car because, you know, but I can like leave the car running and put something on the screen and hop back outside of the car and turn off Bluetooth. Oh, I've done that before.
Oh, when on Bluetooth.
I accidentally, and the kids are like, no, my mom's not here. Cause I'm like, I stepped out of the car so the kids weren't screaming and now I accidentally, but like, the one client that's happened one time.
You're allowed to make mistakes.
Literally, it was a dad that had 3 kids, and he literally laughed so hard. He's like, "I love how real that is." I was like, but like I like hide in the loo, just left London, the water closet or the toilet. If you're from Northern Kentucky, like my family is, you know, no knock on Kentucky, just like that's the you know term. So, anywho's. Literally, like I have shut myself in closets to make phone calls. And so I don't have that figured out all the way. I try to find meaningful ways for my kids to be in activities, et cetera, so that I can work on the weekends. I also have a great team. But I haven't figured it all out.
Right. Well, first of all, I don't think anyone has. Even if you do have it figured out, those who have it figured out still feel guilty, et cetera, et cetera. But I think that sounds like one of the challenging parts of being a real estate agent is that like the weekends when you're like on the soccer field and like all this stuff, you're like, I have to take this call or I have to make a quick call.
And I'll text. And at the end of the day, and I've taught my team this too, and this is behind the scenes of our business too. I'm like, it's no one's business if you're at the soccer field or at a concert or out to dinner, because at the end of the day, like no one cares. I've been in the hospital bed giving birth and no one cares because well, they want, you don't tell them that is what I mean. They want service and they want it now, and they could pick someone else back to the category is very crowded. So I just say, if someone says I need to talk, great. Would, you know, based on the time right now, would 5 p.m. or 8 p.m. work better for you?
Perfect.
And I give times I can live with. And they don't need to know that I'm drinking rosé with Betsy on a podcast.
Yeah, you are.
Or I'm getting my nails done, or I'm with my kids, or I'm in another appointment. It's none of their business where I am. And I just need to give options that are available. And if they say, like, I need you now, then I say available via text. You know, it's like, if you need something right now, you can text me, and these are the times I can take a call. And they're always like very quick turnarounds, like quickly within an hour or two. But it's like, you know, whatever.
But I think that then you do, honestly, you do have it figured out.
Take the reins.
Right. Take the reins. But like you do have it figured out.
Offer options you can live with.
Offer options you can live with. You have protected the time that you need to protect on that day in that moment. You have given
the best
options.
I can.
Yes, the best
Never
you
perfect.
can. No one is perfect. No one is the perfect mom. No one is the perfect at their job. No one is the perfect person to themselves. But like
anything.
But for those of us juggling all the rubber balls and the glass balls, we're all just doing the best we can. But I really do feel like, I know you don't feel like you have it figured out, but to me, you have a very clear system in place.
I love what you said, because I always say to my kids, what am I doing? What am I doing? And they're, what am I doing? And you know what their answer is?
What?
The best that you can. I have conditioned my kids. Because I'm like, what am I doing? They're like, the best that you can. And then I heard someone probably a couple months ago, and I feel like that's a God thing too. Like certain things happen in the right time in your life. And I said to somebody, like, I've conditioned my kids to say, what am I doing? And their answer is the best that you can. And then someone added, with what I have. And that was interesting. I'm doing the best I can with what I have.
Yes.
Because, you know, you only have so much time, so much energy.
Yes.
In some cases, so many financial resources, whatever it is that
There's
is
so many factors.
Limited for somebody. It's like, I am doing the best I can with what I have.
God, that's
and I love that, because it's like, listen, you can't blame someone. Back to like giving people grace.
Yes.
Like if people are giving it their all, and there's a woman that I work with. 2 things I've learned I've learned so much from my team, but like, you know, I didn't make it, I made it happen. Ooh. I love that, because I'm not a great cook, but I'm a good executor. And like today I'm giving 100% of the 30% I have. And today I'm giving like 80%, you know, or whatever. But it's like, you can't show up every day in all areas of your life and give 110% to everything.
Yes.
Something's going to have to bounce that day, that moment, and you have to give yourself grace, and you have to give others grace in return. You just have to.
Back to when I had to cancel on you on Friday.
Reschedule.
Thank you. Here we are. And you gave me, I was like, here are some times that work for me. And we worked it out. But I remember saying to you, and this is the only reason I felt compelled to reschedule, was because I cannot show up in the way that you deserve. Your time is valuable to me. You are taking the time to come tell your story to empower other women who are listening. I am really down for the count, and I can't show up in the way that you deserve for someone facilitating this conversation. I say to my, like, oh, there was this great Brene Brown.
One of my faves.
she is my best friend. I have her in a frame.
I saw that. I was kind of looking at your photos like, who are those people? Then I realized who they were.
Actual strangers who don't know that they're my best friend. But Brene Brown is one of them, and she and her husband, but I have this conversation with my kids all the time, in some way or shape or form, that like they will sit down and level set and be like, I can give 30%. And someone's like, well, I can give 10. So it's, how can you give 100% of your 30? Or like, and it gives people the grace. So I will say to my kids, like,
this is what I have.
This is what I have. And I was like, and so many times I had a conversation just with them recently. I was like, I don't ever play the single mom card with you guys. Like, because honestly, I've got this. And I was like,
and they've got it too.
Totally.
As a product of being a single mom, I learned so many things when I went to college. Like I knew how to pack my lunch. My mom did so much for us.
Of course.
I also learned how to do so much that other kids maybe didn't, because we also chipped in our 10%. Yes. You know what I mean?
Oh, I love that. And it's so true. They are so stinking resourceful, and they like, there are a million things. Grit. Right. And truly, I have a very independent, strong mother as well. And like, I think that is why I am like this high achieving, high functioning, because it was line of sight. But I don't know. I think there's something to be said for just being able to level set at any aspect of your life, at your job, with your kids, with your spouse, with your friends, to be like, I can give you this much, or I can protect it. I love that. One other ism. So my dad is just the greatest. And he's so ahead of his time in terms of his like sensitivity. He was like built this massive company and so successful and an entrepreneur and all these great things. But I mean, man, he's just like a warm, snuggly guy too, even though I don't think it's Ilko would ever know. But he used to say to me all the time, all you can do is all you can do.
I love it.
And it was the grace that I needed as a kid to be like, I fucked up. Or like, and he's like, did you try your best? I'm like, yes. And he's like, then all you can do is all you can do.
And sometimes you didn't do your best and you learned a lot from it.
Sure,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
oh, it's so good. Okay. I want to be really mindful of your time. Ooh, we are coming in hot on 5 o'clock. So
I told you there's no way we could do this for an hour.
I was like, oh, trust me. I'll make
me wrong.
I was like, we could stay here for more.
Too.
Me too. This is so fun. Okay. One of the things that I want to always end on is, this podcast, truly talking about the love of helping, like this podcast is truly built out of service, to reach my hand out and with all these other amazing women on the couch, to serve people who are walking maybe the path behind us, or to make people not feel alone. What are your wishes categorically for women just in life when you're thinking about?
Oh, that's how we're going to end. I was like looking and I'm like, I'm slouching the whole time. So
no, you're not.
Cut, start over.
Are we actually
stand
recording?
Up straight? That's what my grandfather would always tell me first. No. And stand up straight is a great transition. Hold your head high.
You are such a teacher. I love this. I'm like, you say and instead of but.
That has been a lot of reconditioning in life.
Next generation. What are your wishes for women? What are you hoping
hold your head up high?
Ooh, okay.
I'm reading your things. You can do hard things, but you can do this. We support you.
Yeah.
We love you.
Yeah.
And you don't have to do it alone, and you're not alone. And I think every time in my life, and you probably experience this too, being a strong, independent woman, it's hard to make yourself vulnerable. And you have to, because I think that's really where you find that, like, whatever percentage of strength that you didn't have yourself, that's where you can find it, is in that vulnerability. And I think our generation, and probably women younger than us, have been conditioned that like we can have all things and we can be all things and we can do all things. And sometimes it's like, I can't make myself vulnerable and say, gosh, I don't have this figured out. I need help.
Yeah.
And I think it's knowing when to ask for help.
Yeah. That's so good. Brene Brown again.
And reinventing yourself and pivoting and being bold. I mean, because oftentimes life isn't going to work out the way that you planned. And I think for those of us who are perfectionist type A, achiever personalities, life doesn't go as planned. And it doesn't for anyone, by the way.
Truly.
You're not the only person. I'm not the only person. Whoever's listening, none of our lives went as planned.
No.
And it is the beauty in the next chapter, the next right thing. Whoever I meet along the way, those are all really the great things in life that happen. Sometimes the best things that happen were not the plan, and so I think that we just all have to continue supporting each other, writing our own story. Last one. Cheers.
So, you're out of rosé. All right.
It's okay. I don't need more.
Yeah, you do.
I
love that. And I think, just sort of being vulnerable, when we think about it, is also, some people would say it is brave to show up bold and bright and, with a full voice. And it is really brave. And there are moments, especially society's condition is constantly to be smaller, quieter, softer. But
I'm not quiet.
No. And I love that about you. You just, because you cannot show up any other way because that's who you are.
I know.
But to your point, when those of us who are independent girls, perfectionist type A, it's like, we feel like we've always had to have it figured out or figured out ourselves, but to be vulnerable drives connection. And that is like the greatest gift of life.
I love that. I'm still figuring it out.
Yes.
Every day.
Every day.
I figure something new out every day.
Literally. It is always a surprise. This has just been, I'm sad that you have to leave.
Thank you. I told you this is what I needed today. Totally needed it.
Good. Yeah. You have filled my cup right up to the brim. There's
Likewise,
so many.
I've emptied my cup. Just
kidding. Right? I'm like, this has just been an absolute blast. So if everyone out there, please just take this, share this beautiful energy that Megan has brought to this conversation. There has been nothing but like, you've been so honest and you're just so like, I've known you for a long time and I never not see you and you are not just your true whole self, which is just the freaking best. And it's inspiring to those around you to be like, you know what? I'm just gonna be myself too.
Thanks.
So you just keep doing you because you're doing an amazing job.
Likewise.
If people in Cincy want to work with your amazing real estate team, how do we find you? How do we work with you?
Follow us on Instagram, Home Sweet Cincinnati.
Home Sweet Cincinnati.
Text me 513-702-8886. I mean, my original cell phone number is our business line, which is weird. This. Speaking of like people like sliding into your DMs.
Yes.
No one slides into my DM, but I do get weird texts every once in a while because our phone numbers are public and our faces are public and our lives are in some degree. I mean, so much of our business is marketing and putting your face out there. And that is a little sometimes uncomfortable.
Yes.
Especially when your face is like not having the best day or, 9.5 months pregnant. I am 15 months pregnant. No, whatever. Like, it's like, but truly, we are honored to serve the clients that we do. We run 100% referral and relationship-based business. And our best testament for the services that we provide are our past clients. And so we're just so grateful for them and their support. And we wouldn't be here without that. Your passion for what you do, your drive, your genuine nature, just like absolutely bleeds from you. So anyone who works with you would be so lucky. Thanks. And also if anyone just wants to see the love for this great city that we live in, you are also a great follow for that because you truly do practice what you preach. You share other businesses, you support local community, you support women business owners. So you're just an awesome follow and a wonderful person. So, thank you. I hope that you guys are all inspired to live a bold, brave, beautiful, bright life because that is what every woman should do. Even if you're an introvert, just do. We wouldn't know what that's like. I have so much compassion. Me too. And I think it's also really brave to be introverted because I know to come out is a big deal. So totally. But regardless, just do you. And I think, when we think about encouraging women to embrace the power of the pivot and to own your strengths, you're a perfect example of that. So thank you so much for your time. I love you. Thank you, Betsy. I love you. And this has just been an absolute blast. All right, you guys. Thank you everyone for listening and we'll catch you next time. Cheers. Cheers. Well, that's the end of this episode, but promise me you won't stop here with whatever it is you're feeling or dreaming about. I hope you leave today feeling empowered to live life just as you see fit. If this podcast was helpful to you, it would mean the world to me if you could leave a review on whatever platform you're listening on. I genuinely just want to help women live the life they dream about. So if this type of content tracks with you, subscribe to this podcast or visit our website, writeyourownsstory.co, to download digital courses or to grab a journal and a mug to just dream in and dream with. It's your life, lady. Do you. And just remember, I'm rooting for you and you've totally got this.